Germany invents the hamburger. Meanwhile, Belgium invents French fries. And here are the results. Literally with the 1-2 punch, this combined with the Danish haymaker, and I think our country's going down. It's like the Europeans planned this for centuries, and now it's all coming together. They didn't discover moderation in their tech tree yet. Can hardly blame them. Who needs moderation when there's... Okay, there it is. I'm literally the best neighbor one could possibly hope for. I just want to be friends and trade and stuff. I hate you and hope you die. Yeah, that's pretty much what it feels like to be in North America right now. Even I'm a little confused. This single cartoon frame describes what's going on. Not sure why we're so mad. This guy's so cheerful. Apparently, Americans like Canada more than Canadians like the US, new poll finds. Step 1, Canada and the UK become one single country. Step 2, they join the EU. It's literally that easy. You're gonna get two birds with one stone there. Fix the whole Brexit situation because technically the UK wouldn't exist anymore. And at the very same time, Canada would then become a European nation. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't even that long ago where both these places were actually under one empire. Yeah, might as well just add Australia and New Zealand too and just bring in the whole Imperial Federation. Australia's already in the Eurovision contest. It's like Canada moving back with their parents because their neighbors got really weird lately. EU countries be like, Can has cheeseburger, but only European country can join EU. Canada is Europe. Canada is Europe's. What the f did I just read? I don't know what that was, but okay, we had to put it on here. Don't forget too, Canada and Greenland technically share a land border on this island, and Greenland is a part of the EU, so why can't Canada be too? I guess they have a special status in this organization, but why not Canada as well? When the Chinese paratrooper finds out they're being dropped in Atlanta, not New England. Meanwhile, when the American paratrooper finds out he's being dropped into the immortal Cloud Valley of Tianlong instead of Shanghai. Oh, no, no, no! I'm gonna have to fight ancient Chinese dragons now. Please, anywhere but the immortal Cloud Valley of Tianlong. What do you think a Chinese paratrooper has the best chances of surviving in? A, dropping into the Florida Everglades. B, dropping into Texas, pretty much anywhere except Austin. C, dropping into Nevada. Or D, dropping into Colorado. The worst options would definitely be Florida or Texas. But purely from a geographical standpoint, Nevada or Colorado wouldn't be very fun either. Who wins? An extremely important American city home to multiple Fortune 500 companies versus a random city in Asia you've never heard about, but yet somehow have over 400 skyscrapers and like 10 million population. Image 1 is Minneapolis. Image 2 is Shenzhen. I'm always flabbergasted when I meet someone from China here in LA and they tell me like the city that they came from, only to look it up and realize they have over 15 million people that live there. We don't even have close to that many here in LA. The current updated war of tariffs. Canada just like, what? Mexico just like, yo! America just be like, this man. Then there's the EU. Even Colombia's involved in this. And finally, there's Ecuador for some reason. I don't know why they decided to join the conversation. For some reason, I feel like this might backfire for you though. They just randomly decided to announce 27% tariffs on Mexican goods yesterday. Ecuador announcing they will put tariffs on Mexico. Here's Mexico reacting to that news. Meanwhile, the US and Canada be like, what? I don't understand how we got here, but alright. I mean, the convo, again, was mostly just between North American countries, but yeah, go off, Ecuador. It's literally my reaction too when I read that headline. Ecuador with their tariffs on Mexico. Meanwhile, the government of Mexico... Yeah, I don't think that's really gonna do anything. I'm not sure exactly why Ecuador and Mexico have had this like big rivalry over the course of the last year, but I guess it's still going strong. Does Bruh know he's not even really playing the game? Will you rebuild with brick, stone, and concrete? Just like Rome and London did after their big fire? No. No, I don't think I will. I realize this is the new Californian Republic, referring to the Fallout universe, but real California won't either. Just one thing to consider, brick houses don't do very well against earthquakes. We kind of can't do those ones. Americans be like, ew, it's a highway. Also, Americans, when they see highway in Germany, it's the Autobahn! My theories were like this because they teach us in school here that the Autobahn was very important for our own infrastructure. We kind of modeled our freeways off of what y'all did. I'm German. My great-great-grandfather is from Germany. The Autobahn is in our culture. No, seriously, every American worships the Autobahn. Baguettes are delicious. Europeans hearing that phrase versus Filipinos. What's delicious? Apparently the word baguette sounds like another word in Tagalog. Basically, the phrase we just said is children are delicious. I don't know how to feel about this. Let's just move on. Why are games from the rising multipolar world order so much better than the Western slop these days? One of the many benefits to the new multipolar bipolar world we're gonna be living in. We're gonna get so much better games. There's no longer a monopoly on games. Well, to be fair, there was never really a monopoly, but it was usually just the US and Japan. But the race for the video game industry for the next 10 years is gonna be really interesting. Honestly, in my opinion, American games have been really trash for a long time. Not all, but a lot. British people watching Americans colonize Red Note, they couldn't be prouder. We're doing just like our father taught us. You were colonizing islands, Dad. We're now colonizing Chinese apps, especially if they ban TikTok. Are people still using Red Note? Favorite thing about Red Note shenanigans, Mongolian ranchers suddenly gaining a rabid following of American horse girls and being like, we knew you had cowboys, but we didn't know you value and love horses as friends like we do. This is excellent. Literally, Mongolian ranchers and American horse girls be like, I definitely didn't have this on my 2025 bingo card. Barack Obama is the only US president to be born and serve under the same version of the US flag. Also, make him the outlier. This is such a crazy fact. Never even considered this. The last time we modified the American flag was July 4th, 1960. Meanwhile, Barack Obama was born 13 months later. Biden and Trump don't count. They were definitely born way before 1960. So he's the only president so far that has never personally witnessed an update to the American flag yet. But I think this meme is saying, what if he was the only one? 51 state flag win! We don't even need to take territory for that. We could just make Puerto Rico a state or Washington, D.C. a state. There's actually a lot of options. Meanwhile, just after the Mexican-American War, circa 1848, here's the U.S. and here's Mexico, who just got their butt kicked and lost half their land. Here you go, buddy. Here's 15 million. A lot of people forget this part of the peace deal. We did give them money for taking the land in the war, which is not much, you know, but it was honest work. Hey, I know we just finished hashing out this treaty where we take half your land, but we also want this little bit here. No. Okay, tell you what, we'll buy it from you for 10 million. No. 15 million? Final offer. You're going to invade again if I say no, aren't you? Take a wild guess. Sold. I guess you could say it was an offer they just couldn't refuse. Remember that there was two chunks technically taken from Mexico. The one we were talking about in 1848, and then this one in 1853, which extended the states Arizona and New Mexico. America, the one country that pays for the land they conquered. What's this? A brutal dictatorship. Oh, but they're anti-communist. I meant to say a trusted ally. Pretty much our philosophy during the Cold War. Didn't matter if you had this. If you were also this, it's all good. We could be friends. It's literally all it took. Francisco Franco from Spain enters the chat, but there's still plenty of other examples. Like literally everything from South Korea. Lots of places in South America. Hernan Cortez. Okay, the Aztecs have surrendered. You can stop slaughtering their city. Meanwhile, his native allies, fueled by decades of Aztec oppression. We're done when I say we're done. And if you know anything about what happened to these people, you would understand. They needed to get that revenge. Who knew raiding and subjugating their neighbors for decades would really piss them off? My Mongol ancestors who conquered half the world, watching me struggle with visas to cross one border. Are you trying to channel this lady's inner Mongolian empire again? Because in her blood, there was a whole lot less borders back in the day, specifically in Asia. I think she could even technically be able to move to Poland if she wants to. Military uniforms in 2025. We need camouflage to blend in with our environment. Meanwhile, military uniforms in the 18th century. So this is the 1700s. As long as it had some crazy drip, that's all I care about. If I die on the battlefield, I better look absolutely fly doing it. Who cares if the trees and grass are green? Give me a nice red coat. Honestly, you don't even need to go back that far. You can go to the 1800s or early 1900s and still get pretty lit. The newest members of the Central European Defense Cooperation. Wait a second. I've seen this one before. This shape in this part of Europe sure does look awfully familiar. You kind of just need parts of Poland, Ukraine, and Romania to join, maybe even Serbia, and you're all good. Boys are back in town. Boys. The real reason why everyone in Romania is excited for DeepSeek. Romania did war crime? Answer with yes, they did in World War II, or no, they didn't. Yes, they did in World War II. Nice. Thank you. If you have more questions about history or anything else, feel free to ask. Man, DeepSeek is so based. No wonder Romania loves this new AI more than anything else. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm assuming the Romanians probably aren't asking that question right now. I survived 100 days in Minecraft in the Philippines. Talk about hardcore mode. Living in the Philippines, not even in Minecraft, will be in hardcore mode. Well, now I'm curious how this video goes. I think some Filipinos will know how to play these games before. Yo, dude, I'm Asian too. Like totally base and corruption max, bro. Just like the TikTok meme. Meanwhile, his salary being $3,000 versus, this salary, which is 300. India, the Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Okay, there's a clear difference with one out of those 6. I don't even think Afghanistan is anywhere close to the rest of the 5. But yes, on the other side, Japan, China, South Korea, Singapore. Not all Asian country is built the same. If that was not obvious enough, then again, yeah, I don't think they're making $3,000 US though. The evolution of the alphabet, the Egyptians making this bull shape. Meanwhile, this alphabet copying, basically the same thing. Then the Canaanite copying them, I mean, well, is that like a backwards D? The Phoenicians copying them with, oh, I can see that. The Greeks copying them, oh! The Etruscan with this, and then finally we make it all the way down to Latin. The A came from a bull. Honestly, it was the Canaanite, I think, that fricked it up the most. I don't see how they made this jump. Best meme of the week for me. The ancient Egyptians did evolve their hieroglyphics from image to denote word, to some denote a letter. I would be cooked in ancient Egypt with my abysmal art skills. Imagine not being able to write or even text your friends because you can't draw a picture. Another victim of logo oversimplification. All right, what are we gonna use our new writing system for? Here are all the new letters in the back. Accounting. Taxes. Epic poetry. Yeah, we don't do that here. What do you think this was? Ancient Greece? Wait, it is actually ancient Greece, but I was thinking, to be fair, I don't know what I was thinking. This meme is highlighting the fact that these ancient Greeks never wrote about the Trojan War. Or maybe they did, it just didn't survive. I mean, they did have a lot of things destroyed, including their city itself after they let in this Trojan horse. So who knows what got burned up in the fire. Flat Earthers, we can't prove for sure that the Earth is round. Meanwhile, this man who did it in a desert with 2 sticks. Yeah, you deserve to get screamed at. The fact that human beings thousands of years ago figured out the Earth was round is still so unbelievable to me. This man made the discovery all the way in the BC time. Would have known all you needed was 2 sticks. Bronze Age civilizations with writing, massive populations, international trade, and great cities. All that only to get taken down by some dudes with boats. It's really that easy. Sadly, ancient civilizations that were really smart and prioritized mathematics and science didn't always do that well in history. In fact, they oftentimes didn't. It was always the militaristic civilizations. Modern pronatalist policies. Please have kids. We'll give you 50 yen per day. I don't think so. This is my waifu. Versus ancient pro-natalist policies. Get married or I'm gonna take away your inheritance. Yes, Caesar, right away. Dang, that does seem pretty effective. Threaten people to take away their inheritance money. But yeah, problem is, there's not a whole lot of inheritances going on anymore. Danish kings naming their sons. Which one? Christian or Frederick? The choices. Meanwhile, the Ming Dynasty emperors naming their sons. Is it just elements on the periodic table? Wouldn't mind naming my son Carbon. Oh, does it depend on what, like, rock you get up? Each generation was assigned an element and had a long-lasting linguistic impact. The British be like, all right, time to do a little parkour. Going from a monarchy to a commonwealth to eventually back to a monarchy. All right, well, I mean, there was something for a second there. Versus the French jumping over this gate. They were a monarchy, now they're a republic, now they're an empire. Now they're back to a monarchy, back to a republic again, back to an empire. Republic a 3rd time, fascist puppet. Republic a 4th time, republic a 5th time. And there's a lot of rumors they might even hit a 6th time soon. I mean, 6 times a charm, right? They've just been speed running all sorts of different government types. Gotta give them credit for it. Can't wait to see the results. It's no coincidence that parkour is a French word, and they invented the thing too. That's true, their colonial son Cambodia did do something similar too. Guys, I need help in the Civil War to also end slavery. Not our problem, mate, responds the French, the Germans, the UK. Meanwhile, San Marino with count me in. We republics have to stick together. Ireland with me and the lads and ready to help you out, mate. Finally, Thailand. Have my war elephants, Mr. President. That will certainly help. Visible happiness. Must have been pretty nice to be Lincoln in this moment. The Union had quite the allies during the Civil War. The British figured out they can send convicts to Australia to prevent the French from expanding in the region. Man, that's a plan and a half. Wait, Australia was just to get back at the French? I'm not surprised the British were doing this. So not only did they think this continent was just going to be a great overall prison colony, but it does make sense that, you know, if they didn't get it, then one of their rivals would have. Specifically the French, because they were the big colonial rival. And what do you like to learn about? Me during military. Meanwhile, me in reality. Oh, the current German military. That's a very different thing than, well, I mean, to be fair, if someone says the German military, that is the first place my mind's going to go. I'm going to think of history, not right now. It might be important to preface that, to be honest. What about having remotely controlled unmanned robots controlled by paying subscribers from all around the world? Oh goodness, this is a crazy idea. Pros, millions of volunteer soldiers, cash for Ukraine, and Crimea party. Versus the cons, there is none. There is none. Kind of surprised, actually, this idea hasn't been floated around. It probably is floating around, actually. What if they're going to release a Call of Duty and you're actually going to be controlling an unmanned drone? Adversary, we will destroy your Navy ships with modern... I'm not sure exactly what the Navy has got going on, but if they're trying to deny that we don't have alien technology, this is not the greatest look. It looks like we do. We clearly got some new info out of Area 51 recently. I think that's the only way we can explain this. It's a shame that Madison, Wisconsin isn't North America because this geography would have gone so hard in medieval Europe. Look at this lake we could have made like a moat out of. Imagine slapping a castle right here, defended on multiple angles. We'd be able to, you know, like hunt and gather out this way. I actually know what this person is talking about. I can actually see it. At first I didn't, now I do. I just wait till you get a look at Bern, Switzerland. Obviously this is in Europe. Europe was the best place for medieval Europe, I will say. 4-year-old me digging in the garden. My parents, be careful, you might dig all the way to China. 7-year-old me learning in school, I can't actually dig to China. I'm just trying to understand here. I remember specifically hearing this too from my parents. What do you mean I can't actually dig to China? That was literally what I was gonna do as soon as I turned 8. Literally my life goals have just been thrown away now. Message to the US president. We've decided to sell you Greenland. Geography is hard for Americans, so please let us show you where to find it. Oh, I always thought Greenland was an island. Wait, this makes it actually way better. Yeah, we should definitely buy this place. And the Europeans are so nice. That's weird. They were at first very hesitant to do this. Now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, take it, please, destroy it. Always trust on the Europeans to hook us up. I, for one, think an American enclave in the European continent could be pretty fun. Now the average American beer quality will skyrocket. America's just an urban hellscape made up of only parking lots. Meanwhile, the National Park Service manages over 85 million acres of land in the US. Wow, look at all these preserved nature. Can't wait to go visit the dozens of state parks in my state alone. That was a pretty epic thing we got right. I talked about this before. I forget how many people like exist, especially out here in the West, where that's like their whole thing. That's their whole personality. Just going to every state park. And that's just the national parks. Wait until you hear about the national forests, state parks, state wildlife areas, natural areas, and parks. Those are just regular parks. I love Yellowstone. Fighting the UN peacekeepers expectation. All right, blue balls, move aside and let us slaughter civilians. Why do they even send us here if we can't do anything? Meanwhile, in reality, no, you cannot fight back. You're supposed to stand still. We are UN peacekeepers, but we are here to protect. We've wasted 1,000 troops trying to take one base. Is this specifically talking about a certain event? Yes, something in the Congo. Why did your nation join the Axis in World War II? For the Germans, because they wanted more living space. For the Italians, because we'd like to expand our colonial empire and have the Germans pay for it. The Japanese, because we wanted the Germans to keep the Soviets and the Western allies busy while we did our thing. Okay, those are the 3 major members of the Axis that everyone talks about: Germany, Italy, Japan. I stop you right there. We are unrelated to co-belligerents. What? No idea where those Panzer IVs, as you were saying. Did you know that most of our planes are MS-406 and Gladiators? So by this logic, is this Franco? No, I think that is France. Meanwhile, the Romanians, because we need to recover this area and make Romania whole again like it was in 1939 and that one time in the 1600s. Finally, the last member of the Axis, because we need to keep up with the Romanians. They can't just let them do their thing over there. There's a couple more. I wish we could expand upon this. There was a lot of really interesting reasons for different countries to join the Axis in World War II. One of the things I'm thinking of is Thailand. They kind of were forced to join the Axis. Then meanwhile, there's the Bulgarians. Perhaps second time's the charm. Apparently the one under the Japan is Finland, I see. Franco, Axis, Hilter, never met him. I hate commies just like you, Mr. Eisenhower. Thailand, nervously whistling. This Bolshevik leader doesn't seem like that much of a radical. Looks for more info on the guy. Executed for treason. My feeling when, the Great Purge. Didn't have to have any reasoning. It just happened. Stalin didn't like you. You're done. Yeah, you know Lenin in the afterlife had to have been looking at Stalin like. Meanwhile, at the Berlin Conference, circa 1884. What do you want in Africa? The Congo says Belgium. West Africa says France. Well, in the Treaty of Tordesillas, responds Portugal. And stay out! This legitimately was their reasoning why Portugal should get a bunch of Africa. Remember the Berlin Conference was when the Europeans got together and pretty much carved up the continent between each other? Portugal said because of this treaty that they made up like 400 years earlier, they should be allowed to get all of the continent, if not a lot of it. The genuine audacity of Portugal to even mention that in the Berlin Conference. I mean, you gotta use everything you can think of. Fun fact, America was there too. The only demand of the US was that nobody takes Liberia, the ex-US colony. Funny enough, Portugal would end up getting some things, but definitely not all the continent like they once split with Spain. As always, big ol' thanks to the patrons. Drew's Argentinian Trust Fund, RIP Grandpa. I will force Drew to eat Spanish food unless he remembers Imperial and modern Japan have the same flag. Alexander the Terrible. Connor Pavlik. DOOCHBAGGINS. Fredrik Tibblin. KingBearHaze. LuxembourgLover. NordTyrol. Niglu the Goat. Tambre. Check that link down below if you want your name here.